All right, this is the reading habit, and I want to talk to you today about something that nagged at me, I don't know, a year ago? Last year, I noticed this. I don't know what I was searching or what I was doing. I know Ryan Holiday, I've read a few of his books, and they're okay. He's basically known for popularizing Stoicism. And I guess I'm doing this video a little differently because I don't have the camera on me. I don't need to speak straight into the camera for this video, and I don't have a way to do what people do where they have an image of themselves in the corner talking while they're looking at a screen. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about and get into in this video is what I think is a problem and something that people should try to avoid, especially on YouTube. And that is, I'll just point some stuff out. Maybe the point I'm trying to make will jump out in a bit. But Daily Stoic has 3,000 videos, probably more. And I'm looking at these videos and the titles. Why you need to read meditations, okay? I mean, how many videos does he have on meditations? Let's just see. Okay. How to read meditations. That was from 4 years ago. Why you need to read meditations. 5 days. Okay. These are all related to meditations. 100 things he learned from meditations. Wow. Okay. Everything you need to know about meditations. All this stuff just on meditations. And 50 rules for life. How he practices it. This is a lot of material just on meditations. 9 Stoic rules. I guess this is the same video, double posted. And what is Marcus Aurelius's meditations? Just for a minute 34 seconds, 48-second video. This guy likes his meditations, okay? And nothing wrong with that per se, but this is a lot of videos and shorts all on meditations. You know what I say? Just read meditations. You don't need all this. Don't need all of this. Especially because this guy's life is very different from your life. I think books tend to be highly personal, especially something like meditations, which wasn't written to be popular. I mean, he didn't want anybody to know about it. But I'm looking at these videos, playlists. Let's see if he has playlists. Who has time to go through all this? 150 53 podcast episodes, probably each of them an hour at least. Yeah, hour. So let's just assume the average watch time is an hour for this. That's 153 hours of listening to people about how philosophy saved my life, studying philosophy and the value of comedy. That's almost 2 hours. Entrepreneurship, Zen Buddhism, and being... How does entrepreneurship and Zen Buddhism have anything to do with each other? Like with Zen Buddhism, you're just meditating, you're doing nothing. Entrepreneurship is being busy all the time. Like, well, how do you square that circle? I don't know. And being vulnerable. See, none of those seem to make logical sense. They don't seem to logically connect to each other. But I'm sure there's ways. I'm sure I'm being overly cynical about that. But I'm just looking at that. This is just one little tiny aspect of his podcast, Daily Stoic thing. And It's just, look at the views, though. They're not that many, and I don't blame people for not watching all this stuff, because it's a huge waste of time, I have to say. And I will... Let's see, how do I get back here? We'll just click on Daily Stoic here. Let's pause this because I don't like autoplay videos. You'll never see one on my channel, hopefully. No, my point is, no one has time to learn from all this. Okay, this is just his latest stuff. There's Daniel Pink, Power of Regret. It's just two smart guys having smart conversation. Watch this when life breaks you. I don't know. Stuff like that. These things seem clickbaitish. Not even that many views. Let's see here. 5 days ago, 25,000 views. He's not getting that many views, honestly, per video. How Stoic always wins. And you just, I don't know. The way these videos are done, I don't think anybody's getting anything out of them. I have to say, I don't think anyone's getting anything out of this. Why would a Stoic person who's trying to be stoical go through all this material? This is a lot of material. 3,000 videos. There's no way anyone's going to watch all of this. No one will watch all of this. And I would be surprised if somebody could actually do that, because it's thousands of hours of Ryan Holiday talking about stuff. 60 rules for life. People can't even remember 3 or 4 rules for life. 60 rules for life? That's insanity. To me, that is insane. And then, but how do you watch 60 rules for life, and then let's say you watch another one, you need to quit these 14 habits. Are the 14 habits that you're supposed to quit, is that part of the 60 rules for life? Okay, I guess he just had a habit thing going on there. I thought this said Rick Roll. It's Rich Roll's Secret to Momentum. Somebody I never heard of. And a lot of other people didn't either, just 20,000 views. I'm not trying to just specifically pick on Ryan Holiday because I have a bone to pick with him or anything. I don't hate the guy. I don't think what he's doing is evil per se. But what he's doing, this is content creation. This is the ultimate content creation. Taking a niche, stoicism, and then just making endless content about it. He will never be done making content about this. Stuff like powerful life lessons from Epictetus. I think, how many books does Epictetus even have? And it's it's a good book to read, but you don't need to watch this video. You just read Epictetus. And you think about it, and you live your life. You don't sit here and watch these videos. I also make videos, but I don't want my channel to ever be like these kinds of thumbnails. I tried some thumbnail stuff before, and honestly, I felt dirty doing it. I felt greasy. He wants you to read all these books. He wants you to go through all his videos. This is basically the mind of a content creator. I don't even know what you're really learning from all of this. You probably are learning stuff, but 12 Stoic rules for life. Just because he's ripping on Jordan Peterson's terrible book, 12 Rules for Life. 12 Stoic. How's that square? How many of those overlap with the 60 rules for life? I don't know. And I imagine people don't care so much. Let's see what his highest, most popular video is. But I'm just saying, there's no way anybody can possibly go through all of this information and retain even a tiny percentage of it. Nobody's watching a video and learning from it. writing notes, practicing it. Nobody's taking these as seriously as he is taking these, and he's just kind of just talking about stuff that he has just noticed in his life based off of his own readings, maybe. And I'm noticing that the typical internet entrepreneur bro stuff, 12 Stoic questions, the listicle kind of things, 9 Stoic rules for a better life. Anytime you come across a listicle, it's probably terrible advice. It's probably bad information. Probably comes across as important and good information, but I guarantee all that kind of information is not useful to you. Because the older I get, the more I realize life is highly, highly personal. And what works for somebody else won't work for you. What can work for the mean of people, the average of people, like eat healthy, exercise, get good sleep. That stuff, of course, works, but that's boring. That's not content creation. Somebody has to be like 7 hacks that made me get 3% better sleep or something like that. 2 glitches to gain better vocabulary. I now know 12 more words with these 2 glitches in life. Stuff like that. It's just you're constantly trying to come up with nonsense. And I like how he's got the Stoic advice for hard days. It's not Ryan Holiday's advice for hard days. So he doesn't tell you that he has original thoughts. Everything he's thinking and doing, he's basically branding as this comes from the Stoics. But I don't even know if he really knows the Stoics very well. I've read Seneca, Epictetus, Meditation. I've read them, but I only read them once. So I haven't studied them. But usually when I read stuff about the Stoic philosophy, it doesn't seem like self-help things like this. And it does seem to be based on like where you are at in life. So Tim Ferriss is somebody who's probably infamous for his pushing of Seneca's books or letters to a Stoic, I think it was called. And I've read that, and I think Tim Ferriss identifies with Seneca as a man, as a wealthy man who is trying to not allow his wealth to pull him into the abyss. That's all I really think is going on there, and why Ferriss really enjoys Seneca. It's a highly personal thing to him. If you're broke, read Epictetus. Epictetus was broke, okay? I don't see Tim Ferriss talk about Epictetus too much. But, anyway, that was just a small little point I wanted to say. Who is Epictetus? He was like a slave or something. You don't need a 28 video on this. Just read Epictetus. You don't need a 28. This is hard for me to talk about because I also wish I could have a channel where I'm saying, here's some books you should read to be a better human being. But it just feels so greasy. It feels so dirty. Selling out to the man. But his highest level video is just 3.1 million views. That's really not that much in YouTube land. So he's not as popular as you would think. For having almost 2 million subscribers, most of his videos don't have very good. None of his videos are way above that number. Nothing went viral, I would say. 9 Stoic rules for a better life. How many people now have a better life because they followed those 9 Stoic rules? And it looks like he's angrily telling you this. It's not. He doesn't look very. I don't know. There's something about his face I don't trust. But I don't like these AI images either. I just think they're weird. and I think they're trying to appeal to a certain type of guy. But yeah, there's way too much content here. This is way too much content. He will never stop. Like, this is just going to go on and on and on, because this is how he makes a living. Tim Ferriss on solving problems with people and using stoicism to make better decisions. It's just two smart guys having smart conversation, talking and throwing in a little stoicism there. This stuff puts me off. This is what I call smart tube. And smart tube is, it's like trying to tell you how to live. And I am guilty. I uploaded a video on you need to read loads of books, which is somewhat similar to this. But what I don't want to do is fall into this trap of having to come up with all of these goofy little content creation videos and end up like, I mean, Ryan Holiday's already vastly more popular than I am. I mean, I'm a nobody, but he still doesn't even get that many views. These are his top viewed videos, and if you worry, watch this video. You need to stop wasting time worrying. This came out during the pandemic. I vaguely recall a tweet from Ryan Holiday where he was terrified of COVID. I could never go back and find that tweet. It's long gone. And if you know, you know. But I was not able to dig into the internet and see it. But I vaguely recall him saying he was absolutely terrified of COVID, this stoic guy. If only there was a philosophy about not worrying about things that you had no control over. You know, that would probably help and make a difference. But this stuff it's all the same thing. It's really just not different, and it just goes on and on. And who's gonna watch this? Is some high school or college kid? They're better off studying or just reading the material for themselves and then figuring out how it applies at all. How to make sense of it, to understand it, and then how to apply it to their personal life. Now, I agree with life is too short to read bad books. Hey, whoa. Don't tell me that Louis L'Amour's Education Wandering Man is a bad book. Don't tell me that better not be considered a bad book. That's a good book. It's an interesting book from a man who lived an interesting life, and wrote a lot of Westerners that did very well. So I don't know about, that scares me seeing that. I don't want to click into that video. And that's why I recommend, stop reading a book if you can tell that it's bad. Boom, done. Don't need an hour-long lecture on that, although I can also be long-winded at times. So I know it sounds like I'm just hating on Ryan Holiday, but I'm trying to just use him as an example, because there's other channels like this. This is just one example. This is just one channel where you could spend a full year, probably full-time, watching his videos, and not only would you never learn anything, because you just simply cannot retain this mass of information. Not only that, but you would also just you'd be doing it full time. You'd be completely stuck, wasting your time doing that. Like you couldn't do it. You can't get through all of this. Where's the best hits of Ryan Holiday? Like, how do you even decipher which is a good video he did and which isn't? How to think clearly, and then on finding clarity and making better decisions. But you're going to have to watch 2 hours to maybe understand how somebody thinks clearly. I mean, what is thinking clearly? Finding clarity and making better decisions. maybe just not being tired helps. You know, maybe a little bit of caffeine, a Monster drink might help you think clearly. I don't know. It's why do you need 2 hours of material for that? I bet you they talk about a lot of things that waste your time. You know, these guys are just, Ryan is having a great time doing this. I guarantee it. He is having a lot of fun making these because he can make a living off of this. But I also, there's something else just occurred to me. This is a little bit. Is he a psychopath? Okay, I just say this because I don't understand how you can make so many videos about one thing and not get sick of it. How do you not get sick of this? He should make a video like how a Stoic doesn't get sick of content creation. That's what I want to know. I want to know, how do you make so many videos like this and you're not absolutely nauseated by the thought of having to make another video on Stoicism? That's what I want to know. I couldn't do that. I really cannot do that. I tried making a channel once where it was like me playing games. And I tried to play like the same game. And I found that it was very difficult to maintain interest in playing the same game. I was no game pro gamer or whatever. I was not somebody who, I felt like I was just incapable of. Look, he kind of gave up on doing the playlist, didn't he? He has 3,000 videos, and his playlist is like a fraction of that. I couldn't do it. I couldn't stick with the same thing over and over. But how is he able to do that? That's what I want to know. I don't want to know why I need to read meditations. I have read meditation. I don't want to know how to do that. I want to know, how do you make 3,000 videos on Stoicism and not like fall over dead of boredom and sickness? I just don't know how that happens. I mean, I don't think there's that much material there for 3,000 videos for like 30,000 hours of material. 30,000 hours of material. Maybe. I mean, maybe not that much. But let's just assume all 3,000 videos. Actually, let's assume 2,000 of them are about an hour long, on average. That's 120,000 hours. That's 5,000 days. That's 13 years. 13 years of straight up Stoic video. 13 solid 24-hour day years of video material. Because look at these time lengths. That's a lot. That is a lot. Look, no one out there is going to ingest 13 full years of information and get anything at all out of it. You cannot do that. That's not human. I bet you Ryan Holiday doesn't even know what the heck he was talking about like 5 years ago on these videos. He probably doesn't even remember interviewing these people. I don't know how you could. And he's doing even more. He has writing process. This is just one of his channel. He does have his another channel. It has like 300 videos or something like that. So, a tenth of the videos. But it's it just blows my mind. And this is just one channel. There's many channels like this. And I caution people, don't ever watch these videos. You'll notice that I haven't seen any of these videos. Don't watch these videos. I'm not saying don't watch my videos, although maybe that would also be helpful. You watch what you need to watch, and then you just live your life. But this stuff is, you got to stay away from this stuff on the internet. It's too content-y. I don't know if that's a word. I just want to say content creation-y. It's too content creation-y. It's like, it's vain speakings. It's talking about stuff without purpose. My purpose is to try to get you to save your time and not spend 13 years self-improving through stoicism through this. Like, you just can't do it. And I do think I've watched a couple of his videos, and I thought it was so saccharine and dry and just uninspiring that I couldn't do it. I couldn't watch anymore. And that began my bafflement of what is this? How can anyone watch all these videos? Even watching 100 of the videos, that's still a ton of time. And what are you really learning? I don't think you're actually gaining that much from this. Maybe we need to interview. Here's an interview idea for Ryan Holiday. Here's an idea for the next person to interview. Interview somebody who has watched all your content, or most of it, or even a significant majority of it. Interview somebody who has absorbed your content and tell, that's it. That's the interview. They absorbed your content, grill them on it, and then see if it did anything for them in their life. Did they notice anything? Any changes? Are they different? What were the best videos? Or were there like, oh, there's hundreds of great videos. How do you even maintain all that in your memory? I don't know. But to me, this is just, you got to get away from this stuff. I feel like I have been able to jettison these kinds of things, what I call smart tube. And look at this. He looks angry, pointing at you, yelling. Stoic glasses, like, what is happening here? None of these guys look like they're really enjoying life, I should say. It all looks so very tiresome, and I imagine you'd get sick of watching these videos before long, and I think that's why the video counts are actually quite low as far as big YouTube channels and big personalities are. I mean, I don't think this is very much. He makes probably some change from making these videos, enough to keep him going, but without the influx of money, without the monetary transfer without the transfer of money to his bank account, would he still make these? If he had to do a regular 9-to-5 job, working as like a farmer or something, would he still make these? I would have to say no. Strong mind, strong body. Bro, you're not working like an oil rig or something. You're not working in a factory where you're standing in one place and you're having to do the same thing over and over for 8 hours. And you drop a piece of metal on the floor just for the blessed feeling of squatting down to stretch out your legs. I speak from experience, of course. I don't know. He doesn't look like somebody who ever worked at a factory. What do you guys think? Anyway, I think that's enough bloviating about this topic. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, just because it disgusts me. Okay, it really does. I see stuff like this, and I worry about young guys or 20s, 30s guys getting sucked into this and thinking that this is going to do anything. A lovely and wonderful comment on my last video was, should I reread Meditations a bunch of times and pull some? Do that. Don't watch like this, but read the material for yourself and figure it out for yourself. Sometimes you have to suffer for knowledge. This is suffering, but it's not for knowledge. It's just suffering. All right. Anyway, that's about it. That's all I want to do for this video. Thank you for hearing me out, for watching me. If you are Ryan Holiday, please don't contact me. I don't want to speak to you. And that's it. All right. Thank you. Bye.